Hello, everyone. My name is Justin Johnson. I'll be presenting this scenario today for Zamunda Water, which is a water distribution and disposal company operating B2C and B2B with companies. For their solution, they're looking for a CRM portal that is managing their service to their clients, as well as billing processes, as well as the follow-up and field service as well. The risks identified is the LEVs up in the operational data for master data, including the accounts and contacts. I'll describe the LDVs here. We have the business household, as well as the businesses that will amount to a combination around 10 million records. Given the fact that this is operational master data, we won't be able to migrate that off the platform. So we'll be mitigating the large data volumes to skinny tables, as well as custom indexes. The cases are another risk here, where we have per year estimated 10 million cases being created. Since that transactional data will be migrating that off platform via Salesforce Archive to an S3 bucket that is exposed to the platform via external objects. There's additional governance, so I'll talk about later. Assumptions I made is that the ZEVPP will be acting as the payment gateway, which is PCI compliant. We'll integrate that with Chargent for the transactions and tokenization of credit confirmation. The ERP will then also generate the invoices and billing. The system record for the customer data, as well as for the service operations, and the waste management contract will be managed within Salesforce. That will be the system record. Moving on to actors and licenses, we have the key customer managers, the VPs, and the city managers that will receive sales code license, since they are going to be account management roles and they will need access to the contract objects. Service managers and their VPs will receive Service Cloud and CRMA access for the case access, as well as for analytics, advanced analytics. First reps receive Service Cloud license for case service access. The wastewater management users will be internal users that will receive Service Cloud license as well for access to work orders. The wastewater operators will receive a community license for advanced sharing, as well as for an external hierarchy with managers and operators below them. And then the clients will receive themselves Customer Community Plus license for the sharing features as well, for advanced sharing. Moving on now to the system landscape. The org will take a single org approach, given the fact that we're trying to merge data processes and collaboration here. We'll use multi-language for French and English via custom labels, translation workbench, and Visualforce email templates. The translation workbench will have a designated translation point of contact. We'll translate the metadata. The single org will have Salesforce Voice installed with Chargent for Salesforce Voice, with integrations to Amazon Connect for CTI. Chargent will be installed as well with integration to this ZEVPP payment gateway platform. The CRMA will also be installed for the advanced analytics. Salesforce Archive will be installed for the archival of the case records to the S3 bucket that are stored as CSVs. Internal users will authenticate using SAML via Okta. Okta will delegate authentication to an LDAP directory. Okta will also enable the scan and automatic provisioning that's described within the requirements. There will be a customer portal, and the customers will be able to authenticate using their Facebook credentials, using an auth provider that is for Facebook. That Facebook will return, auth provider will return and validate the ID token that's returned by Facebook, and then just in time provision those external users within Salesforce. There will also be a customer app, which is a mobile publisher app. This app will authorize itself using auth-code plus PXE flow, since it can't securely store the client secret. And also they can authenticate using OIDC via Facebook using the same mechanism, or they can use the native Salesforce credentials as well. The system takes an API-led approach with reusable APIs that are exposed via an ESP, that are managed by an ESP and secured by job-based trust store. And there will also be an ETL for the migration of data from the ERP system. I'll talk about that later on in the migration section. There will be a waste manager system that will specifically calculate charges. It will specific aspects of it will be decommissioned. There will also be an ERP solution. The ERP solution will be managing billing and invoicing as well. Okay. We're going now to the requirements of the ERD. I'll describe the ERD real quick here. At the base level, we have the customer accounts that are business accounts. Those customer accounts are owned by a key customer manager. They'll be the single key customer manager will have access to not only the customer accounts, but also within an account hierarchy, the customer sites. Those customer sites are stored as accounts as well. They'll own both separately. So there will be a key customer account will have specific multiple different sites that are associated with it, and that will also store the billing details. So when the key customer is, they will enroll in a water management program. They will enter information on the proposed water usage. That information that's stored as the water usage will be stored on the contract object with combinations of the contract line items. So for each individual site, which are stored as accounts, we have separate contract line items that are stored that include the proposed usage per site. There will be a waste management profile or program that's associated with that proposed water usage, and that will then store as a function the relationship of the waste management profile and the sites, and that will store then the usage, proposed usage. Once that's entered by the key customers, they will submit that, and that will then be approved via an approval flow by the key customer manager. The key customer manager will approve it then at that point and activate the contract. Every year there will be a automation via scheduled Apex to generate a WMP waste management profile contract. If they exceed 10 kiloliters of water a month in the previous year, so that will be just a roll up from the contract line item to the contract to determine which ones are key customers. If they are a key customer, they'll be flagged on the customer account here. If they are under that limit, then they'll be unenrolled and they will be unflagged as a key customer, and they won't be a part of that key customer program. The users will capture their proposed monthly usage on the contract line items per site. They'll also have the option for efficiency purposes of copying previous data. So the previous usage of that year on that as a quick action on contract, so that WMP record. So click on a quick action on the contract that will then copy from the previous year the contract line items, and then it will create a new set of proposed per month, a new set of per month usage record. The UI on the capture page itself will be user-friendly via screen flow that will allow for them to enter the on a per site basis the usage that is expected at a per month and per site basis. That will iterate per contract line item as well. And then the application itself will have validation around the ability for them to submit only when they have specified the key customer contact. So they'll only be able to submit the WP record once they have specified a key customer contact on the contract itself, and also they've entered at least 6 months on that contract line item itself. The WMP record needs to also be submitted on time, so there will be logic around with a scheduled flow that runs every day to notify the key customer manager that's assigned to the customer account if it's been pending for 30 days after creation. If it has been pending for 30 days, there will be a chatter notification that is sent to the, or an email notification sent to the key customer manager from the schedule flow. Once the contract is submitted, that will then get a contract chatter post for the WP record for the visibility of when it was submitted. The key customer manager will also be able to provide the key customer with a printed copy. This will be using a Visualforce email template for the translation to French or to English. That will be translated, and that will include the contract data as well. And it will be branded also using Visualforce features itself. Now to the customer service process. So we've established the contract. Customer sites are also set up at that point. These are master data. The customers, if they have inquiries or complaints, they have multiple different channels. They can use their call, they can use their telephone, they can call a number that is exposed via Amazon Connect. And Salesforce Voice will ingest data from Amazon Connect, including case creation for the case to be picked up by a service user. That service user will also be able to be routed based on their availability using omnichannel. There will also be a screen flow exposed in the portal for the customer to create a case manually. They will create the case, and then that will be routed to a service rep based on their availability as well. There will be case assignment rules as well that will assign the cases to specific queues based on the type of case it is. The type of case is going to be based on specific data that is submitted either or generated within that case that's ingested via the Amazon Connect, or the screen flow that is populating the cases themselves. And then that will assign to a queue and then route to an individual rep based on omnichannel. The inquiries themselves will have SLAs that will escalate based on whether or not, based on a timeline that's based on their service level. So there will be entitlements for the accounts, whether or not they are subscribed to higher level service or if they are at the normal 14-day. So there, I don't have that represented here. It's in the ERD, but there will also be a entitlement that's associated with the account that will determine the case milestones, and the case escalation rules will determine their case escalation rules will determine the timeline of when they should receive a response. And if they are not resolved within a certain timeline, there'll be case escalation rules that will escalate the case. When the customer data is updated in Salesforce, so get self-service within that portal, there will be automation for Salesforce to integrate with the ERP using CDC that will be subscribed to by the ESB that will orchestrate the update to the ERP system. The customer number in the ERP system will be updated within Salesforce, or the customer number that's generated in the ERP system will be updated in Salesforce as an external ID. The customers themselves have the option of having multiple different billing accounts. In my object model, I have the billing data stored at the site level. Since there is since the different sites have the financial relationship is related to a particular property, I'm assuming that the billing is stored at the site level. And in that case, what I'm doing is having the site associated, the billing and the site associated with different contacts via an account contact relationship. Then the customers themselves, when they do create a case, will be able to create a case for that specific site, and the case will be related to the site via lookup. The owner of the site, the case, of course, like I mentioned, is owned by the service rep that's routed that case. The last month's usage will be visible to within the portal and the internal Salesforce application using batch data synchronization from the ERP system. What will happen is that the ERP system will itself source, be the system of record and single source of truth for billing information, and will use batch data synchronization nightly to update contract line items. So the usage data, the usage records with the balance that is currently owed, and that will be using the ETL. Customers will be able to view their invoices and payments from the ERP system using the external object that's exposed. Within the solution, what we're going to do is use the ESB to expose OData connectors for the external object exposure. That will include the invoice information. They'll be able to also view PDF copies of the past bills using a quick action on the invoice external object record. The ESB will orchestrate a pre-signed URL on demand that will be routed to Salesforce and then redirect the user to the PDF copy. Finally, the customers within the portal will be able to pay their invoices using the charge it feature that is integrated with ZEBP that will integrate with Salesforce using the out-of-the-box connectors for PCI transactions, PCI compliant transactions. What will happen is that Salesforce will create a charge in order, and then the customer will be able to enter the credit card information that is tokenized and then sent to the ZPP. ZPP will then do the processing. The ERP will also be updated with the status of the payment using a platform event that will use a pub sub model that is communicating facts to the ERP with the payment details. Finally, we have the waste management, so the field service aspect of this, where wastewater operators will, as external parties, will be able to be onboarded and operate and provide services for waste management. So there will be within the public web page, don't know if I call that out, but we'll have a public web page as well within for Zamunda Water. Zamunda Water will have a public web page that will expose a web to lead form. I'm assuming there's going to be less than 500 leads per day for this to not go beyond limits. Once that is exposed, we'll have they'll be able to input their data, express interest. That'll create then a lead record within the solution, and then assign to a wastewater management user using round robin that is facilitated by an Apex trigger. Once the wastewater manager qualifies the operator, what they will do is they will convert the lead and create then a business account record. They'll create an account as well as a contact, and also actually a partner community user. That will get the manager record as well, so the manager user. There will be a screen flow as well for the wastewater manager as well, or wastewater operator, to pay the application fee that will use the charge in order as well. Application data as well, since it is exposed to the public site, we'll use to ensure that we don't have duplicate applications with duplicate rules and matching rules to ensure that we're not having duplicate data, and we'll match against, for example, the 10 and tax ID numbers. Once the lead is converted, that will also copy over the account, the lead data to the account itself, so that there's data consistency. The wastewater operators will, once they're set up, they're provisioned using that partner community user license. You'll be able to access then work orders that are created associated with the accounts that they're assigned to. There will be work orders that are set up per site, and they will have a screen that's available to them to create the work orders, or to not create them, but to update the work orders with the statuses of where they are and what the progress is as they visit 30 sites a day. So we'll have 30 different work orders that are associated with the customer sites. And then they'll also have the option to integrate with Salesforce via an Experience API to create work orders. These companies themselves will have the ability to integrate with Salesforce via ESB, that the ESB will expose Experience APIs for the creation of work orders as well, or update of work orders as well, for efficiency reasons. Moving on now to the data visibility requirements. We have the key customers that and their work, the water management profile records will only be visible to the key customer manager. They will be owning the account, so they'll have implicit access to the contracts themselves. The role hierarchy will grant them access to the per city basis. I'm going to talk now about the role hierarchy as we talk about the data visibility. So as a part of the role hierarchy, we have the roles partitioned by business unit, with the service VP in its own line, since it adds separate visibility to the customer data. The cities as well will be a partition level for the customer management as well. So the key customer management. So rolling down from the key customer VP, which is at the city level or the global, and we have the city key customer lead, the key customer manager that exists below them. We have wastewater management that own the wastewater operators, that are those external accounts that will be doing the service operations. Key customer managers will be able to delegate as well to other managers using account teams on the customer side. There will also be a custom field on the account team member object for the end date maintenance of the delegation, and then there will be scheduled automation to remove visibility, so delete the account or expire the account team member visibility as well. The key customer indicator on the customer record will only be visible via FLS on the permission set assigned to the key customer managers. Billing accounts will also only be visible to users that can view the customer record, since that is only viewed by the key customer manager. We're going to have that also owned by the key customer manager as well. So the billing account is one-to-one with the customer side, so it's consolidated to the same object. All customers are viewable by the service center reps using ownership-based sharing rules that are shared to the service rep role. Actually, I'm going to change that. We're going to use criteria-based sharing rule to share to all service reps for that service rep role. Ownership-based sharing rules will not work there, so we'll use criteria-based sharing rules there. There'll also be criteria-based sharing rules per case type to share with specific public groups for inquiries and complaints. And then there will also be a hierarchy of public groups where there will be a parent public group that will be assigned a member for these child public groups for the different specific case types. And that will grant anyone within the superior public group will be able to access the child public group records. The wastewater batches will only be visible or editable by the operator employees. So those operator employees will own the work orders themselves. They are partner community users, and that will be also private OWD. The external manager will be the owner of the account, the wastewater management account. That wastewater operator account will then have access to the account as well as the child records as well. There will also be an external account hierarchy for there to be a manager as well as operator employees. The operator manager will be able to view their employees' records. The owner of the account and the wastewater manager and the specific wastewater operators will be able to view that company's data using ownership as well as child implicit sharing. Finally, the customers will view billing accounts and inquiries and complaints for their household using implicit sharing as well, or using the ACR, which grants them access to the customer site, and then they'll have access to the case as well, given the child implicit sharing. Now to the data migration. The active customers and billing accounts will be migrated to the Salesforce application using the ETL process, where we'll have a staging table that will have the active customers and billing accounts. We'll then have a data steward facilitate the provisioning as well as the deduplication, data cleansing, ensuring that we're aligning with the sources and the schema and the standards that are expected by the client. The load will occur using bulk API. The bulk API process will, of course, before it occurs, we'll have the deactivation of the sharing as well as automation. Once that's done, and once the reversal migrations are done, once they are satisfied, so tests have been done within the reversal migrations within UAT, we'll migrate everything to production, and then there will be final smoke testing and sign off by the client. Key customer managers will be able to view reports and dashboards of WMP activities using standard reports. Service center managers will be able to analyze request history for service trends using CRMA for trend reporting. And then moving on now to the governance requirements, we have the a set of roles here that will need to be able to have their decision and have their vision applied to the overall life cycle of the project. We have a steering committee set up there. There's a timeline risk here around the roadmap and how they want the Salesforce functionality live as soon as possible. We need to make sure that the PMO is involved in setting the timeline and that there's a understanding of the urgency and the capacity and balancing that. So we need to make sure that there's a roadmap alignment between the steering committee and the PMO. There is an onshore development team and also a offshore development company. We need to make sure that the onshore development team that is smaller but more skilled is programming with the offshore, so that there is a skill transfer. And then also that there is a center of excellence to apply guardrails on the overall design, so that there isn't any sort of offshore team development that is in alignment with the quality standards that are established. And then, of course, as a part of the COE, we will establish a CI/CD pipeline that will be trunk-based and apply quality gates to the deployed code. There's also a roadmap risk with a misaligned release window for the 6-month releases. There is also, it's a stat timeline, so we make sure that we have integration testing via environment to incorporate the 6-month releases to align with the 6-month releases, so that with the understanding that with the 6-month releases that we have the fit environment updated that frequently, we continuously test within this system integration testing environment within that timeline. The component, there will be also, I don't know what that is. Skip that. There's also compliance and exposure risk. There's pre-design validation that will need to occur using, since there is some legislative risk here. So we'll just make sure that within this Center of Excellence that we have subject matter experts, MVPs established, and then of course that we have Salesforce Voice set up for the application call time handling. We have data center migration for the next 12 months, data center integration, and we have trunk-based CI/CD. And that concludes my presentation. I'll look for any questions. Thank you.
You want break or?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Okay, can you show